Hey you're watching a clip from the DynamiteGizmo podcast. This is not the full episode, but if you want to see the full episode, make sure to click the link in the description. And remember, like, comment, subscribe. Do it now. Here's the clip. This upcoming weekend, Vegas 109, Steve Erceg is set to return. Or is it next weekend? No, it's next weekend. And originally, he was supposed to co-main event the card against Alex Perez, a formal title challenger. But unfortunately, Perez had to withdraw, and now Erceg finds himself facing Ode Osbourne instead. And while Osbourne isn't ranked in the flyweight division, this might actually be exactly what Erceg needs, a reset. Let me explain, okay? Let's talk about Steve Erceg, in case you don't even know who this fucker is. Before stepping into the UFC spotlight, Erceg was quietly dominating over in Eternal MMA, one of Australia's top regional promotions that also helped launch names like Jack Della Maddalena. Erceg joined Eternal in 2019, and after winning 3 straight wins, he earned a flyweight title shot in 2020 against Shannon Ross, the same Ross who would later appear on Dana White's Contender Series. Erceg choked him out with a rear naked choke with just 2 seconds left in the first round. He then moved up to bantamweight in 2021 to fight Cody Haddon, earning a unanimous decision win, before returning later that year to defend his Eternal flyweight title against Paul Loga, finishing that one via mounted guillotine choke in round 1. Paul Loga. That sounds very similar to Logan Paul. Anyway, but here's where things get a little strange, I guess. Between 2021 and 2023, Erceg was supposed to compete on the Dana White Contender Series. But due to repeated visa issues, the fights kept falling through. In the meantime, to stay active, he returned to Eternal MMA for one more non-title bout, which he again won via first round rear naked choke. He never made it to the Contender Series, but it didn't matter because in June of 2023, the UFC just straight up signed him and gave him a debut fight against David Dvorak. Not to be confused with David... what's his name? Can't remember. A tough veteran with a solid UFC record. Anyway, Erceg beat him via unanimous decision and earned a Performance of the Night bonus. Then in November, I got a message. Then in November, he fought Alessandro Costa and earned another decision win. But the big breakout came in March 2024 when he knocked out Matt Schnell with a clean right hand that earned him yet another Performance of the Night bonus. That win bumped him up to rank number 10 in the rankings, just 3 fights into his UFC career. Now, if you've listened to my earlier segment on the podcast that we just talked about when it comes to backup fighters and why short notice opportunities matter, this is a textbook example. Because right after the Schnell KO, the UFC needed someone fast. Alexandre Pantoja was set to defend his title against Muhammad Mokaev, who has since been dismissed from the UFC. But Mokaev turned it down, citing Ramadan and needed a longer camp to recover from Ramadan. Other top names like Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval were unavailable or had just lost to Pantoja. So enter Steve Erceg. He said yes immediately. He was already in shape, he was ranked, he had buzz, and the division was shallow. It was a risk, but the kind the UFC loves. An underdog story with a clean narrative, a fresh face, a recent finish, and no baggage. And despite the fact that Erceg lost the fight, against Pantoja, he gave Pantoja one of the toughest title defenses of his career. He arguably won the final round and earned the champ's respect. Pantoja even said afterward that Erceg is going to be a problem in the division. But since that night, things haven't really gone Erceg's way. He followed the Pantoja fight with a close but clear decision loss to Kai Kara-France. It was not a close fight. I am remembering this now. It was a first round KO by Kai Kara-France. And then again dropped a decision to Brandon Moreno earlier this year, putting him on a 3-fight losing streak. Now, to be clear, those are 3 of the best fighters in the division. This isn't a guy washed by nobodies, but it does show that after a meteoric rise, the road at the top is rougher than most expect. Which brings us back to Ode Osbourne. Sure, he's not ranked, but he's dangerous. A lot of action, a lot of aggression. He can be reckless, but he can also catch you slipping. Erceg needs to be careful. That said, if he can get a clean, dominant win here, it might just relight that fire and get him back on track toward the title conversation. Or at least back in the win column, which is exactly what Erceg needs right now. And I think he's going to take Ode no problem. Okay? Especially since he's ranked number 10 right now. Ode's not even ranked, which really doesn't really matter that much. But Erceg needs this win, dude. He can't keep losing. I mean, he can, but how many more? How many more can he lose before he's shit-canned? I was really hoping that Erceg was going to win the title fight against Pantoja when I watched it. I voted for him, and it was close, dude. I thought he was going to take it. Could you imagine having Steve Erceg as a fucking champion? That shit would be crazy, dude. That shit would be off the fucking charts crazy. But then he probably would have had that fight against Kai Kara-France, champion, as a champion, and he probably would have lost to Kai Kara-France. But who knows? But as it sits right now, I'm okay with I'm more than okay with Pantoja being the champ. I think Pantoja's a great flyweight champ. And I hope he stays. Although Joshua Van would be great too. Either way, I'd be happy either way. It'd be nice to see Pantoja win to keep his fucking record going and maybe eventually beat or get equal to Demetrius Johnson's record. Or have Joshua Van win and be the youngest UFC... Would he be the youngest UFC champion? I don't know. Is he older than what John Jones was when he got the belt? I don't even know. But then we still have Raul Rosas Jr. He's still young, and he's flying up the bantamweight division. And I know he has a fight soon against a ranked opponent. He hasn't said who it is yet, but I believe he said it's within the top 10. So if he can get in the top 10, dude, he's just like 2 or 3 fights away from fighting for a title. And he will for sure be the youngest UFC champion. I would love to see Raul. But the thing is, Raul has to go up against Merab. Mind you, as long as Merab is still the champion by the time Raul gets up there. Who knows? I don't think Corey Sandhagen is going to win against Merab. But it might happen. Who knows if anyone's ever going to beat Merab? Who knows? But anyway, let me throw some questions your way about this segment. Do you think Steve Erceg was rushed too quickly to the top? Or did he prove he belonged with the elite? And if Erceg loses to Osbourne, is the hype train done? Do you think someone like Erceg, with his resume, still has another title run in him? Or is it going to take a while yet? Let me know in the comments. I need to know your answers, motherfucker.